Well, Zambo, this has been long
Oh,
awaited.
we're recording?
Yeah, we're
Oh,
recording.
let's go, baby.
Let's go.
And a lot of requests for this one.
A lot of requests for this one. Right when I started the DreamState Livin podcast, first episode, or maybe second episode, probably a dozen people, like, when are you going to get Zambo on? Because they just know our friendship, they know our connection, and we've been known to go deep. So, first question I have for you, you talk about truth a lot. What is your definition of truth?
It's the laws of the universe that are just always there, irrefutable. Everything is always better with the truth. So the truth is that we have everything, we need nothing. And I've actually had to recently reinstill myself back into the truth, because whenever you have everything and you have nothing, it's really easy to live the truth. Believe it or not. When you're at the extremes, it's super easy. When you have nothing, you got nothing to lose. Hey, God help me. You know, I got life. That's all I need. Let's go. When you're at the top, it's like, oh man, it's so great. It's so easy to enjoy life. I have everything. I need nothing. But when you're in the middle, I'm kind of in this like middle stage right now. I'm trying to climb to the top. And it gets a little harder to dig into the truth. And so I actually had to really meditate. I was meditating there. And I had to remind myself, it's true. The externals, meaning money and great relationships, great athletics, it's true. It makes life better. Way better. But our life force, what we actually have, our life, our connection to God, that is actually all we need. With that power, we can enjoy our lives, and then we can get results from that. Without that, there is no externals to be had, and there's no externals to be enjoyed. So the truth is, we have everything, we need nothing, and God controls all the results.
And to add on to that, a lot of people tend to only pray and seek for the truth when they're at ground zero.
I know.
Right? So why do people wait for ground zero to find the truth? And why do people tend to lose the truth when they get to the top?
Why do they do it? I mean, it's a good question. I think it's just a bad habit, honestly. I think it's just getting lost in the sauce. I'm not going to say it's never happened to me before. It's happened to me before.
Me too.
Why did it happen? Because, now that I think about it, here's why it happens. You get attached to the results. The results are so good that you get from the truth, that you get from God, that it becomes your God. It becomes more to you than truth. You're just like, what do I got to do to keep this money coming in? When you have $100,000 a month coming in, what do I have to do to keep it? When you're getting any girl you want, what do I have to do to keep this going?
That becomes your center.
Yeah.
Instead of God.
Straight up.
We talk about this all the time.
That's why it happens.
Yeah. And when I first got into the business in solar, it's where we met. And I first had my first month where I made like over 40, 50K. I felt like I was rolling. But that same month, a lot of habits started to drop. And as the months went on, I was focused on continuing that money, like you said, continuing to keep the 40 to 50K. What happened next was I got fat. I was a terrible partner in the relationship I was in. I was attracting worse relationships. And internally, I felt like an absolute mess. Even though on the exterior, it looked pretty damn good from the outside. It's like, damn, Ethan's got all these results. And I'd realized in my life, a lot of times where I'll be so focused on the truth. I'll be doing all the right things. Like what led up to me hitting that 40, 50K month was meditating nightly, doing all the right things.
Yeah.
Being on purpose, and then the result comes. And then I drop the things that got me there. And then God has a funny way of kind of like laughing at you, where I'll drop the bad habits. The good, because of the ripple effect, the good things were still dropping on my plate, even though my habits were bad.
Yeah.
But at that one day, things really all started going downhill. And the bad habits started to have like a delayed shock, if you will. Has that ever happened to you?
Oh yeah, I was about to say, I mean, that's one of the biggest things is you'll notice when you start living wrong, and then you'll still be getting the good results coming in from when you were living right. So there's a little delayed response. It's just like in business. You get paid for what you did in month one, a lot of it in month 2 and month 3. In month 1, you're still not getting paid from what you're doing in month 1. You're getting a little bit of the easy pickings there. But month 2 and month 3 is when you start to get paid for it. Month 4, month 5, you're getting paid for what you did cumulatively in those months, kind of like more like an average. And then as it goes on, it becomes more consistent with your average. But yeah, so whenever you start to taper off from those good habits, it's not going to immediately change on you usually. You might notice it in little instances like door to door, because door to door is an instantaneous feedback loop.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're going to still get the results piling in until eventually they dry out from living the wrong way, living untruth, unsuccess.
When someone asks me, it's like, how do I develop my truth? I usually focus on getting centered upon God and centered upon values and principles. So essentially, we'll work one-on-one with that person. We'll help them develop values and principles to be centered upon. Is that kind of in line with what you do, or how could you recommend someone to develop their truth?
Well, I mean, how bad do you really want it? Because I was actually going to ask you. You coach a lot on Dharma and getting people to care more about the internal than the external. But how do you get someone to care about that whenever they need external results, whenever they need money? Because if they've never been a spiritual person, if they've never tapped into the laws of the universe, they're just like, teach me what to say to get a sale.
Yeah.
Teach me what to do to get more athletic. They just want, like, what is the 2 + 2 + 4 option?
Yeah.
They don't realize, this is calculus, bro. This isn't simple addition and subtraction. Addition and subtraction, that's for, like, the basics, that's for just, maybe losing some weight, maybe, just getting a little bit of money, maybe. That's basic addition
That's
and
maybe hitting
subtraction.
$10,000 a month.
Yeah,
right?
we're talking about mastering life. We're talking about having possibly billions of dollars, our dream wives and our family, and epic athletics where we can live to be 900 years old.
Yeah.
Like that is not going to be done through addition and subtraction. So how do you get someone to care about that? I mean, we might not be able to. We might be able to motivate them to show them it's actually a better life to live through the calculus way, to live the truth way, to understand all this. It's a better life to do it, and it's an easier life. Because no matter which one you want, do you want better results and do you want easier results? Then you have to be master of life. Mm-hmm. If you want a harder life, no one does. And if you want worse results, no one does. Then yeah, just try to learn the sales lines. That's it. Just try to figure out a script. Forget mindset. Forget the energy you're bringing to the deal. Forget the workout that you did that morning that fired you up to crush that call. Forget what you're bringing to the date. Forget all that. Yeah, no. And so a lot of what I do to try to get someone to learn truth is I try to let them realize this is how you get the externals. You want this, and I let them know. What you're looking for is this, and I tell them I know what you're looking for. You're looking for this answer right here. You're looking for the lines. I'm telling you right now, the lines will come and better if you learn this, and this is the only way to get the actual results. Because how many sales teams actually win? Very few. How many? It's like, what is it? 99% of real estate agents fail.
Yeah.
It's like 90% of small businesses fail. Mm-hmm. Why do they all fail? Because they're all trying to do 2 + 2 = 4. If you want to fail, do what everyone else does. If you want to actually win, there's no other way around it. You have to learn the truth. You have to tap in to the laws of the universe. You have to follow God. It's just the way it is. This is not me trying to get brownie points from God. It's just the way that it is. Yeah. So that's how I convince people to tap in a little deeper.
Last night we were talking about almost reprogramming patterns in our mind. And maybe someone who's listening, they're like, damn, Andrew's literally speaking the truth right now. But they're the person that even making $4,000 a month seems so far away, or living their dream life seems so far away. Having their ideal relationship, it just seems like something they can't have, so they settle. And a lot of that, I believe, comes down to needing to reprogram your mind to understand the truth and to understand spiritual law. But reprogramming, as we talked last night, it's not 2 + 2 = 4.
It takes a lot of work.
It takes a lot of work. So
time.
What are work and time? Last night we talked about self-hypnosis.
Yeah.
So that could be one thing that maybe we can jam into right now. But how does someone reprogram? Practical steps, because we could play you you could go listen to Joe Dispenza right now and he could confuse the fuck out of you.
Yeah.
Talking about neuroplasticity, epigenetics, all of these things that to the common man is confusing.
Yeah.
So for the layman, like, how do we reprogram? Because I believe I've seen you years and years and years, and I've seen you go through a lot of highs and some lows, and I consider you a master reprogrammer.
Appreciate it, brother. And you as well. So, I mean, coincidentally, I actually just did this in this page right here.
That's it.
So, I mean, I can take it like a step by step.
I think that'd be great.
Yeah, but before I go into like the step by step, yeah, it's going to take time. It's going to take effort. It's going to take real critical thinking. So break out a notebook and get ready to write some stuff down, because you're going to have to really take some time and see it before you can have it. You can't have what you haven't seen. Why would God give you something if you haven't even taken the time to envision it yet? You haven't even done step one. You haven't even taken the time to imagine yourself having it. That's what faith even is.
Yeah.
So I mean, take some time, have some faith, realize that you're probably going to get it, but you have to sit there and realize, okay, what's my life going to be like when I have it? And then usually what you realize is, yeah, my life will be better on the outside, but I'm still me on the inside. That's what makes me present. All results can stem from presence. Silence is the foundation of everything. You were saying yesterday, God lives in the silence.
Yeah.
Well, sound is born from silence. I love that that quote by Eckhart Tolle. But then the step by step is, you got to figure out what's stopping you. So what is stopping you? Usually it's fear. I write down, what are the things I'm scared of? Why am I afraid of them? Because a lot of what stops us is just taking action. And then if we are taking action, what stops us is fully unleashing our confidence while we're taking action. Like you're holding back, you're stifled, you're scared, you're nervous. Listen, if you're nervous, you can't let out your true self. People might not, they might not be hard on you for being nervous, but they're not going to like to be around you. They want someone who's guns blazing. That's why the comedians crush it, the famous comedians are the famous comedians, because they're not up there scared. You want to see a scared person up there? Not for long. Maybe it's funny for the first minute. No. So you got to get rid of your fear. What are you afraid of? Why are you afraid of it? How do you get rid of it? Those are kind of like the barriers you got to mentally get over. Oh, there's nothing to be afraid of? Oh, nothing bad can happen from this? That's what you start to realize. Nothing bad. Worst case scenario, what's going to happen here? That's why even in college, like, why not just commit suicide? Oh, because then I just lose the game anyway. Why not just kill yourself? It's like, all right, well, if I'm not going to kill myself, let's just go all the way. What happens if I go all the way? Oh, I might lose, but I actually have a chance. That's what you kind of come down to. So
it's such a deep self-reflection question. Why not just kill yourself? Because that might be hard for someone to say, and other people listen like, what? But really, why not just kill yourself? If you're not going to kill yourself, just fucking go all in.
Yeah.
So I want to, right now, our first 3 steps. So envision it. And I really like how you said it's almost thinking with the end in mind.
Yeah.
Because when you start to envision, it's like, maybe I don't want a Lamborghini. Or it's like, because I used to think I wanted a Ferrari Lamborghini, and I never really thought about it. I was like, I got a Tesla, and it was cool for like the first 6 months, and I felt like a badass. But then it was just any other car. And I feel like it's going to be the same with anything. And then the next thing is what's stopping you. And then the third thing is you can't be nervous. And
yeah, well, those are all that's all kind of...
that's kind of looped into the first.
It's kind of looped into the first. You got to find out your barriers. You got to be able to find out what is holding you back from the start. And then once you kind of figure that out, then you can convince yourself. This is step 2. How do you convince yourself to unleash? Like, how do you convince yourself to go all in on it and be the most confident version of yourself and to have the most fun doing it? So, will there ever be a time when being fearful will work? No. And this is the things so you're constantly selling yourself. You're doing question-based sales on yourself. See, question-based sales works the best if you have someone playing along with it. The problem is our customers never want to play along. Why aren't you interested? I'm just not. Boom, hang up the phone.
Yeah.
Oh, what do you need to think about? I just need to think about it. They just end the call. It doesn't work on customers, usually, unless they're really bought in. But it works on you because you have to answer the questions. What are you scared of? You have to answer the question. What happens if you go all in and it fails? You have to answer the question. Will this ever work? You have to answer the question. Now, what happens when you go all in? So then you draw your conclusion from that. You find out, all right, here's how this works. You write out your ideal life. You write out the ideal situation. And then there you go. Like, for example, I wrote down bulletproof man. Bulletproof man. That's what the end of this hypnosis came down to. I'm a bulletproof man, bulletproof success. Hypnotize myself into purpose. This one was a deep one. This one took like an hour. So I'm not going to go into all the details because it is personal, but yeah. Anyways, the fear, logically getting around the fear. Like, okay, what happens when you go all in without the fear? See it without the fear. Boom. Now you're hypnotized, you're programmed the right way.
When you're hypnotizing yourself, are you reading off a piece of paper? Are you speaking out loud? Are you speaking internally? Do you listen to an audio that you pre-recorded? Like, can you walk us through the steps of how you actually physically do it?
Yeah. Depending on how internalized it is for me, I'll start out, like, if it's not that internalized, I'll start with words. Words is the weakest form. By far the weakest, as you know. I mean, words, you can say anything you want.
There's no emotion
there's
attached
no
to it.
emotion attached to it. What takes a lot of energy is to actually see it. So to actually sit there and meditate on it and vision it, that takes a lot of work. You're playing a movie in your head. I mean, what's easier to do? Say some words or think of a movie? Obviously, if you sit there and you're envisioning yourself like a movie, you're seeing all the situations that could go around. That's going to really draw, instill it in there.
So it's like you're writing out a movie script. We were talking about this recently.
Yeah.
Which I love this ideology. You're writing out a movie script on how you want to live your life, and then you're convincing yourself that you're that person.
Exactly.
Is that along the lines?
Yeah, and I'm convincing myself not to be afraid to be that person. To see that, I mean, dude, you show yourself you're going to lose no matter what if you don't be that person. You're going to lose no matter what. You're pretty much choosing death.
I think this is really where a lot of these, like...
It's either death or win.
Yeah. I think this point that you're making of convincing yourself and belief is where a lot of these like The Secret and these manifestation practices get wrong, because you got millions of people, maybe people listening, that have a check in their room, say from Universe, for $38 million, but it's just like, shit, nothing's working. Nothing's working out.
I've had a check from Donald Trump for $1 billion since 2016. So been waiting on that one for a while.
Right, and a lot of times, and I made this same mistake back in, this was probably 2016 as well, 2015. I first moved to Los Angeles, and I had my check for $38 million from acting service rendered, or whatever it was at that time. I think it might have been acting service rendered. And I hit 26 was my goal, and I wasn't even freaking close. And then I pushed the goal back, but then I realized in that moment, it's like, wait, you've just been saying this line. I used to have this this aphoristic style of speaking where I'd say, I will obtain $38 million by the age of 26. With this, I will change the future lives of many. I plan to follow all intended fate and leave a clean path. And I would just say this day in, day in, day in. It was my mantra that I've taken from Think and Grow Rich, or whatever it was. But it got to the point, like, you could say I just said that, and I haven't said this probably in 6 years, but I said that because it was so unconsciously competent, where I had no emotion attached to it when I started saying it. It's like an actor saying their lines, but they have no emotion attached to it, because now it's just memorized, and they're a shitty actor.
Yeah.
But a really, really amazing actor gets these lines, like Leonardo DiCaprio, and he's seeing himself as that Western cowboy, and he's like living in the moment. He's visualizing how he would feel while he's saying these lines if he's that person. And the more I started to kind of understand that and speak with what I actually wanted, not just what I thought society made me think I wanted, what I actually wanted, and I had emotion attached to it, and I got excited like a kid on Christmas morning. Kevin Trudeau talks about this in Your Wish Is Your Command. Like a kid on Christmas morning when I'm visualizing. That's when things started to click. Like the people started to show up that would connect me to this goal of mine, is when I had serious, serious emotion attached to it.
Yeah, I mean, you brought up acting. At what point do you stop being an actor?
Well, when you start living what you're acting towards, then there's usually another version of yourself that you want to achieve. So I don't believe you ever really stop.
I would argue that, no, you're right. You never really stop. But I don't even know that I'm acting, because when you said that, I'm like, damn, I am acting a lot. Because I'm not internalized on some of those things yet. And I didn't think about it like that, but I am acting on some of those things. But you almost don't even know you're acting if you're doing it really well. Because you're like, no, this is it. And then sometimes you falter. I'm not total, I call it success, and I'm not totally successful 100% of the time yet. But I'm getting really good at it now. I think it was when I turned 30. When I turned 30, I'm telling you, a flip switched, and I was like, no, like, I'm 30 years old now. I've been a grown man since I was 25. I've known I was a grown man since I was 22, but now I'm 30. If I don't grow at this point, it's not going to happen, because a couple more years is going to go by. It's going to be because I did it. Like, I need to do it. You were saying your affirmation that you were saying. I have an affirmation I've been saying every morning, literally since, I want to say college. I wake up before my eyes are even open. I say my life commitment. And it's become so routine that, you kind of caught me, bro. Like, I'm not saying it with any emotion anymore. And I remember I would look at it sometimes and I'd think, man, I'm not I'm not really living this. I say this every morning. It's a commitment. My commitments are a contractual agreement between me and God, and I'm not living it good. That made me feel really guilty. And I think something flipped when I turned 30. I know something flipped, and I just said, no, like, I got to live this now. And there's now very few times where I'm slipping on it. And so I think that the deciding moment of when you stop being an actor is when you just decide, no, this is just what I'm going to do. Like, that's it. Like, this is unacceptable at this point. It's like this, it becomes a standard. They always say you get your standards, not your goals. It's true. It becomes a standard.
That's such a good point. As you're speaking, and kind of that was a really good question of when we stop acting. I'm thinking, like, an actor, if you're acting, there's a part of you that maybe feels phony. And sometimes I think all of us, I mean, I know I do, I feel like a phony sometimes. And I have to really, like, ground myself and get back in the truth, like, no, you're not a phony. And then also look back at my results and what I've done, but then get centered back upon my values and truth. Like, by being a phony, I mean, like, who are you to coach all these people? Who are you to run these retreats? It's like that's like that little voice on your left shoulder comes up.
Yeah.
At our most vulnerable times, and maybe in that point I feel like a phony actor, but I consider myself, like, when I'm visualizing and acting, if you will, I'm like a Daniel Day-Lewis, though, where, like, it's a method actor, where you're so ingrained in it that it becomes you. And sometimes when we're working towards being a higher version of ourselves, we're not there yet. And we need to start walking in those shoes to reach that point of who we are.
You're right. It all starts with an act. You know, the hardest part is you gotta start somewhere, and that initial movement forward is going to be an act. But you brought up something, who am I to coach these people? I've thought some of those things before too, and then what ends up happening is I end up seeing who is coaching these people. I end up seeing the training they are getting, the people who are making the sales, the people who are getting the girls. I'm like, what? I thought I had to be so good. Who are these people?
Yeah.
So it's almost like that humility makes us better.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting question. Would you rather be almost like overly humble and think you're bad, but actually be the best, or would you rather be pretty bad but think that you're really good?
Yeah, it's an easy answer to that, but it's such a good question.
As long as you are taking action when you're in that low confidence state, which is easier said than done, obviously the answer is the first one. But a lot of us don't actually take the action when we're not fully confident. It's like, oh, I'm not ready yet. Who are you to decide if you're ready or not?
Yeah.
I had to, I wrote out this tweet on my mastermind account, which is like my little private, no one follows it account, just for myself, my grandkids, great grandkids, so on and so forth. And it's like, because I kept doing that to myself. I kept being like, now's not the right time. I have too much on my mind. I have too many things I need to do before I can do this or that or whatever. Just even like simple day-to-day stuff, whatever it might be. It's like, no, I'm not good enough yet. And then I almost had this sense that God was not happy with that. And I had to humble myself and say, who am I to decide what's the right time or not? The circumstance, the opportunity presented itself right now. Why would now not be the right time? Why would God put that into my reality if it's not the right time right now? Burn this sucker to the ground, bro. I'll burn my environment to the ground. Burn it down failing. There's an infinite abundance of opportunity and chances and lessons to learn. And I might even win. And you might even win. And I said, who am I to decide that it's the wrong time when it was presented in my reality? I felt a lot of shame. It almost makes me a little emotional just saying about it, because like God was trying to give me the results and I was just saying no. And so after that moment, it stuck with me so hard that I just started burning to the ground. And since then, everything's been flying. This was about 2 months ago, I would say. Everything's been flying up. So yeah, it's like, it's better to be humble and be better than to be cocky and be worse. But you better take action when you're humble then. You better damn take action.
Yeah.
And too many people don't. It's like, no, I'm not good enough yet. Who said you're not good enough? You're not that smart. You're not the creator.
You are not that smart. And maybe 2 or 3 people on social media who are definitely not that smart.
So take your shot, man. I call myself a shooter. Shoot.
Yeah.
Just shoot, man.
Shoot.
The most fun part about shooting to me is not knowing what's going to come out of my mouth and not knowing what's going to happen. that's now become my most fun thing. It's like a freestyle rap. Like, all right, I don't know what I'm going to say on this call, on this approach, on this action. I don't know what's going to happen in this basketball game I play. I don't know what's going to happen, what move I'm going to make. I'm so present, I don't know what's going to happen. But that's the beauty of it. That's the most fun part. I trust my faculties. I trust my creator. I'm going to see what comes out. And I'm willing to deal with the results. What I'm not willing to deal with, I've felt the regret enough times of not taking the shot. And when you don't take the shot, you sit there, you go home, you think about it. What was I doing? This was all just a dream anyway. It's just a dream. What was I afraid of? I'm going to wake up from this dream one day. I'll be like, wow, I really was a pussy. I'm not going to die a pussy. No. I'm not going to wake up and be like, no, I didn't do it. No, I'm going to take my shots because none of this even matters anyway.
None of this even matters. We're here for a sprinkle of time.
Yeah.
And why not just shoot?
Especially when you travel a lot. You realize when you travel, dude, no one cares about my life. No one knows who I am. I am a nobody. I'm literally a nobody. What does this even matter? Like, none of this matters. Even if you're the most famous person ever, you still don't matter because even to everyone else's life, you don't matter. And we're not even famous.
Yeah.
So it's like, what does it matter?
I had an interesting
Our world
experience.
doesn't matter.
The world doesn't matter. I got confirmed with this recently. I had a really interesting experience when I did 5-MeO DMT.
Oh, wow.
I think I told you about this. But I got thrown into like altered dimensions. And when I came back to life, I didn't know if I was really here. I really didn't. I thought like maybe I'd get thrown back into another dimension in my mind or in the exterior world. And I remember I was walking down the street and I just thought like, what if this is all a dream? And I wake up and I'm back under the tent with the guy who gave me the DMT and he's like, hey, welcome back.
No way.
So what if like this is still a dream that we're in right now and it's just a long-winded dream inside my mind? And I started to ask myself questions. Well, how would that guy go about his day? If this was all just a dream, how would that guy go about his day? Well, he'd probably go talk to this girl that's walking down the street that's absolutely beautiful.
Yep.
He'd probably go start this business that he had no clue if it was going to work out. But he's
Yep.
going to do it because he wanted to do it.
Exactly.
In this dream world, he wanted to do it. It's like the famous Alan Watts speech of, imagine if you were to dream 75 years of life. And each night you could have a miraculous experience. You could do whatever you wanted to do. And one day, after living 75 years of life, you'd wake up and you'd realize that you have now entered the part of your dream where you're living exactly where you are now. What would you do? And I really started to think about that of, wow. And why is life existence? What's the difference between a dream?
Yeah.
Because
Just longer.
it's just longer, and then there's like actual fears that we have in our conscious mind. Like in a dream, I don't know if like maybe fear of judgment, fear of anxiety, maybe anxiety because you get like your heart starts to pump. But I don't know if you really care about judgment because I've done some crazy shit in my dreams. But what holds us back is fear of judgment and fear of failure in life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why if we were in a dream world, we probably wouldn't give a shit because, hey, it's just a dream anyway. But what's the difference between existence and a dream?
Yeah, I've actually thought about that because I lucid dream a little bit. And it's, so whenever you lucid dream, whenever you know you're dreaming, and then you start trying to control the reality, right? Oh, I'm going to start flying right now. I'm going to make a mountain pop up right now. You start trying to jack the whole system, and you just end up waking up.
Yeah.
So then, after like 3 nights in a row of doing this, is years ago, I woke up like 3 nights in a row. I'm like, all right, next time this happens, I'm not going to try to shape-shift the whole reality instantaneously. So instead, what I did was, I was like, oh, I kind of recognized I was dreaming, and I didn't think about it. I didn't mess it up. I'm just like, I know I'm dreaming now. And I just started to just enjoy that I was dreaming. Slowly but surely, the shape-shifting started to happen on its own. Even better things started to happen on its own. Because the dream knew what I wanted. I was knowing what I wanted, but I didn't have to tell it what I wanted. It just naturally started to do what I wanted to do, because that's kind of what I was wanting to have happen. So it's like the whole like subconscious mind thing, it like started to play out and it happened all that ways, and I realized, oh, real life is almost just a extended dream. Like, you realize it's a dream. You don't have to sit there and, I used to do this, law of attraction. I have to sit there and like drill in what I want, say what I want, say what I want. It's like, dude, that becomes working the wrong way. That becomes almost stressful. I mean, when you're in a stressful state, that's not a dream anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like, that'll be you trying to wake up from the dream, but you can't wake up from this dream. So, yeah, in other words, it's just like an extended dream that takes a long time to play out, but when it does play out, it works, you know, and that's why it tends to always be that we get more than what we actually wanted. You know, we get more than what we were setting out for, because when you live the right way, your creator and you know what you want more than your conscious mind does, because you only see a little bit. You only see a little bit of options, but there's so many other options out there.
Have you ever studied into Lao Tzu? Have you ever heard about Wu Wei, effortless living?
No.
Going with the flow? It's along the line of the law of least effort. And I want to ask you this. So when you were in your business career and you were running houses and you had all these people living with you, there was a little bit of like pressure on you as a leader and as a manager, and almost like unnecessary force that maybe needed to come in. And really that unnecessary force took you out of your flow state. Mm-hmm. Could you agree with that?
Oh yeah, it was traumatizing, bro.
It was traumatizing.
Yeah, you had to like heal from that for a long time, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I started to really, and this is something I can share with you after, kind of, I'm surprised you've heard of the Tao.
I've heard of the Tao.
So Lao Tzu is the author of the Tao.
Oh, okay.
And to live, like, do the Tao now and live in a Taoist way of living is really effortless action, and Wu Wei is like effortless living. And today I actually spoke on one of our calls about the law of least effort with my mastermind, and we were talking about do less to accomplish more. And it's not in the exterior world, because you and I both know that we need to be action takers. We need to take massive action. But a lot of times what happens, it's very stressed action, and it's very unharmonious action. I believe this is what Lao Tzu was going at when he was speaking of do less to accomplish more. A lot of times your mind is in like fight or flight, and it's almost, it's not speaking in the pause, kind of like what you were talking about earlier, which is allowing for that flow to come in, where okay, I'm gonna go talk to this girl. We use girl as an example, it's easy to reference. I'm gonna go talk to this girl. Okay, I'm gonna ask her, first question I'm gonna ask her, what college did you go to? You're fucked. You're fucked.
Yeah. If you can pull that one off, you're screwed on the next one.
Yeah, you're screwed on the next one. It's like, oh, I went to FSU. It's like,
now what?
Shit, I didn't prepare for this.
Cool.
But if you just go up and you have the like the effortless trust, if you will, just like whatever. An aphorism I made up a while ago, which is all I can offer is my best, and I know my shit. And this actually came from when I was younger, and I was always kind of the dude with my friends when we were 19, 20 years old. We all had fake IDs. I was the dude that they knew would go up to any girl. I had ultimate confidence from a young age, and I was the dude that went up to girls. And it kind of like, it also put me in a little bit of a hole as well, because I was just like, it became my identity.
Yeah.
But what I would always tell myself is, the worst they could do is just say no. And then I just went up there and I just was myself based off of that, because I wasn't really scared of the rejection. And kind of circling back to Wu Wei, what can you kind of say about like overthinking and maybe overdoing on things, where really what you needed to do is just kind of take a step back, calm down, and then approach and go after your tasks with like a calmer state of mind?
It actually reminds me of a conversation I was having today with a friend, and he was like talking about somebody doing sales. It's like, that guy can't sell. He's like, really? I was like, well, let me correct myself. He could. He's a confident guy, but he's not 10 out of 10 confident. And if you're going to be in sales, which is pretty much what we're talking about, life is sales.
Yep.
You know, if we're going to be in sales, you only get rewarded if you're 100% confident. So when you they say sales is a numbers game. Yeah, I mean it is. But if you're really good at sales, you pick up the phone, you make a sale. You know, unless that customer just can't do it. Like, you're going to close people who are closable, and that's when you're good at sales. Like, I don't expect rejection. A lot of people go into a sale and they expect to be rejected. That's blasphemy to me. Like, how could you deny me? How could you deny my deal? How? That means I must have been doing something horribly wrong. If I'm going to get rejected, something horribly wrong happened. And so bottom line is, when you're in sales, when you're in life, you get rewarded for being 100% confident. Meaning, if you're 99%, you get basically zero results. You might get an easy picking, kind of lay down type of deal, but that's about all you're going to get. And so you got to be at 100% perfect confidence to get sales, and then when you are, you get all the sales. You know. And so that I actually wrote down something I want to talk about with you, which is a healthy mindset, but it's like the most cocky thing you could ever think. And you made me think of it whenever you're talking about the DMT trip or whatever, like, this is my dream. I tell myself this a lot. I know it's not true, but I actually still kind of believe it. It's like, this is my dream and everyone else is living it. And I could sit here and be like, yeah, you all have your dreams too, and, you know, I'm in your dream. And I could say that to try to, like, seem humble, but I honestly, no, it's like, dude, this is my dream. Everyone's in my dream. And I know that's not true, but, like, that's how I see the world, whatever. But it helps me, dude. It helps me to see the world that way, because this is just how I see the world. Like, I see the world through my eyes. I was put into my life since I was 0 years old. Therefore, this is my dream, and everyone's just a part of my dream, and this must be the best life ever, because why else would I get put here? But does that not apply to you, and does that not apply to the people watching? It does.
It makes you a better human being, part of existence as well, I would say.
I think it makes me a better man, yeah, 100%. Because I'm like, dude, if this is my world, I better make it damn good.
The moment you thought that, I tried to think of, like, the other people's side of it, and it's just like, you know how people say, it's like, oh, it's just your world, and we're all living in it.
when people tell me that, I'm like, I know. I know.
Oh, that's fucking...
Girl's like, you're selfish. I'm like, yeah. She just laughs. She's like, yeah. I just say, yeah, I know.
Well, selfish directed towards the right things, I believe, would make you a better human being.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I mean, the only way to truly be a giver is if you are selfish. Because if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't take care of other people. So as selfish as I might be, that's the only way I can have value to give in the first place, that they would even think to call me selfish. Because they know I'm withholding some value from them. Because, no, I need to serve myself to then give it to you. But if I'm trying to serve you, I'm not a servant. So I'll serve you if it helps me out. But I'm not going to sit here. I've tried being a servant, and it doesn't work, because it's not really what you want to do. And even if you do want to do it, if it's not on your highest path, God makes it not work out. So leaders, like we can't be servants. We're not slaves. No matter how hard we try to be a slave, we're not a slave. You know, and you can't serve your way into submission, meaning you can't serve somebody so much that you end up becoming their leader. It doesn't work like that. You have to be their leader, and then you'll be able to have them follow you to the promised land. But you can't sit there and try to cater your way there, being nice, you know, doing favors for a favor.
Yeah.
That doesn't work. It doesn't work. You know, you got to get, the value comes from you serving yourself, and then the byproducts of that good energy and that enjoyment. Actually, I want to talk to you about this. What makes the best man? What makes a man the best man in the world?
A man that has a iron strong relationship with thyself.
What does that look like?
The best health, the best experiences, because that's going to lead to him being happy for those that are also around him.
Boom. Bingo. You enjoy yourself the most. Being happy for everyone around you. That's what I think is the best man. One time, it was 2018, and I was in the car. This girl got me high, and I was like, just thinking all these crazy thoughts, and I asked myself, wait, what even is?
Yeah, I'm high.
It's like, what even is the best man in the world? Like, what is that? And it's like, someone's always going to have more money. Is it money? Like, someone's going to always look better. Someone's going to be better at something, whatever. Someone's going to be better at stuff. But what's the point of all that stuff? Like, what is the root of all that stuff? We make money so we can enjoy our lives more. We get healthier so we can enjoy our lives more. There's, of course, necessities to that, so we can pay our bills, yeah. So we don't die, yeah. You know, there's family, yeah, so we can reproduce, yeah. There's necessities to that all. But one of the main factors, if not the main factor, of the reason why we do what we do is to enjoy ourselves more. But can we not just enjoy ourselves without that? Of course we can. So I realized, whoever can enjoy themselves the most, you automatically now are the richest man. You automatically now are the best man at sports. You now automatically now are the coolest guy. just by enjoying yourself the most. You do that, you enjoy yourself the most, boom, you won the game of life. You just short-circuited the system. You didn't have to be rich now. The most any other man could ever do is match your level of enjoyment. If you're enjoying 10 out of 10, the most any other man could do is match your level of enjoyment. Okay, now there's 2 of us. Let's roll. Let's be partners, bro. Let's be teammates in this. Yeah.
Let's team up.
Let's team up, yeah.
I fucking love that. You reminded me, I had a conversation recently with my brother. I was back home for a funeral, and I want to segue this into something else I wanted to ask you. But my brother, just being a loving brother, was just like, why don't you live back home? Your whole family's here. We miss you. These experiences with family. And I told him straight out, and I thought about this because I prepare myself for conversations like these. Any wise man is prepared for hard conversations.
Yeah.
So I just looked at him and I said, well, when I'm back here, I'm not present because I'm not living in purpose and I'm not living in truth. I'm not around the people and I'm not around the opportunities, the hometown effect. But when I'm living in truth outside of here and I come back, this 1 week that I'm here, I'm more present than I would be if I was here for 5 years within this 1 week. So therefore, the time spent here, because I'm this higher version of myself while I'm here, means that I'm more present. I'm able to enjoy the experience more with you guys. And then I'll go back and I'll live my life. What raises my vibration to this level. And people expect you, and the reason why a lot of people, you definitely get this in your life, where people want you around all the time as well, is because you work so hard on yourself in your own dojo, in your own life, here in Bushy. You work so hard on yourself to be this version of yourself. But then everyone wants you all around. But if you were to go all around, you wouldn't be that version of yourself.
You can't be a servant, man.
You cannot be a servant. So, to kind of segue into what I wanted to ask you is, I think people have a hard time of letting go of relationships and knowing when to kind of cut a relationship off, or even when to put a proper time cap on a relationship when it starts to affect them. And it can be extremely draining, but they do it out of love. So they do it out of a good heart, which is, I love, this person, a family member, what have you. Even if they're draining me, I want to be there for them. Mm-hmm. But that's not putting yourself, that's not putting God first, because then it's focus on exterior relationships, and you're not living your higher version of yourself. We're here to achieve a higher version of ourselves. I believe that's the purpose of existence, to evolve, to grow. Yeah. And growth is an uncomfortable process. Mm-hmm. It's challenging. So do you ever have to kind of cut these relationships off? Do you set boundaries from the beginning? What do you do
Boundaries from the beginning.
Boundaries from the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because the chances of someone being with you for the rest of your life is, 1 out of however many friends we have, it's like, dude, it's so rare that I pretty much I say, okay, what would I do on my own accord? What activity, walk on Bayshore, go to the gym, work in my business, go to the beach, what would I do anyway? All right, you can come with me to that. That's how I do it. Because at that point, I was going to do it anyway. And all that person has to do at that point is just not be a bad time. As long as you're just not negative, if you can just be neutral, you're good. You can come with me to do what I want to do. It's whenever I'm walking somewhere and someone is like, hey, blah, 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 talk to me this. Maybe a salesman, a street salesman. Yeah. But yeah, come walk with me. You can sell me as I walk. I'm not going to stop and let you try to sell me. You can try to sell me. I'm just going to keep going where I'm going though. Yeah. It's kind of the same idea as that. You can, really like that. You can try to take from me, but I'm still going to go where I'm going. If I end up if you end up taking from me, it's because I gave to you, and that's fine. I give a lot. I'm cool with giving, but I want to go where I want to go. Mm.
Can you explain to me "go dummy" to make more money?
Go dummy, baby. Yeah. No, it just means if you have more fun, then people are gonna get out of their old paradigm and they're going to realize, this is actually a good thing for me because I'm selling a high ticket item right now, and people are, usually in their paradigm, money's hard to make, scams are prevalent, and I don't know this person. There's so many things, so it's you have to get people out of their heads to do something out of the normal to then help themselves. So if you can get out of your head and have some fun with it, well, then they're going to end up having fun too. And if they're having fun, they'll end up seeing things from a different point of view and actually having access to more of their brain to make a smarter decision. and not being so closed-minded. And then boom, they could actually help themselves. And this happens all the time in everything, not just sales. Like, you know, it could happen in sports. You know, you making a shot that you wouldn't normally make. Doing it with your teammates, getting your teammates to think bigger. Doing it in relationships, you know, like whatever it might be, getting your friend to go on a crazy trip with you. You know, you do this a lot with me and our friends. You get us to go on these crazy trips because you're going dummy with, like, dude, we're going to go freaking hunting with the Hazabi. I'm like, bro, yeah, I mean, I got wrapped up in your dummy, man. I'm going with you. Yeah, baby. Let's go hunting, dog. It sounds terrible.
6 months later, we're hunting with the Hazabis.
So, yeah, go dummy to make more money. It just means, you know, raise your state up. You're not going to make money by freaking sitting there engineering it to death. When I get an engineer on a call, I'm like, oh, fucking engineers. Dude, because they sit there, they're so analytical, they can never make a decision. There's a reason some people make money on a salary and some people make money off their performance. You know, the people that make money on their salary, usually it's because they can't perform. And the only way to perform is to get out of your head and to start living and go dummy.
Two greatest addictions in the world, heroin and a salary.
Yeah.
Man,
yeah.
But that's it's on point too, and everyone loves these safe nets. And I was thinking, it's like, kind of relate this to a sale. When you're speaking with someone, a lot of times people are so afraid to go dummy. So you need to create this vision of a future identification self and get them so excited on that they start to get excited. Where it's just like, well, if you're this type of person that is making $30,000 a month off your Amazon store, how would that person make a decision right now?
Exactly. Yeah. If you're selling solar, well, be as free as your deal. You know, if you actually give something away for free that saves people money, then be free. You know, if I'm actually giving somebody something that they could retire from, then act retired. You know, so, but here's the other thing. We're talking about doing this for a result right now. Yes, it gets the best results. Going dummy to make more money gets the best results. You know how I came up with this? The same way that you came up with this, in different words, is we got rejected so many times, we figured, all right, if I'm going to get rejected, I might as well have fun with it. Like, because I'm going to get rejected anyway, I might as well enjoy myself. So you start putting yourself first. So you put yourself first, sure enough, other people put you first too.
Wow.
You know, but you don't know that's the result. If you're doing it for the result, you won't go full dummy. You won't be fully successful if you're doing it for the result. If you're doing it for yourself and putting yourself first, fully, with no external outcome in your head, which is so much easier said than done, that's when you reap all the rewards. But you won't even need the rewards anymore. Because you're like, all right, as long as you have enough, then you're like, oh, hell yeah. I'm crushing it. This is so much fun. I would do this anyway. I thoroughly enjoyed myself on this call. I thoroughly enjoyed myself talking to this person. Then you win no matter what. Then it's a win-lose if you get rejected versus a lose-lose if you get rejected by not enjoying yourself. And then if you get the win, win. Everybody wins. They enjoyed themselves more. They got a result. You got a result. You had fun. All of it. Win.
Boom. That's connected to Dharma too.
Thank goodness that's how the laws of the universe work.
Literally
thank God that you made it this way. Thank you for making it this way. How did you make it this way? I don't know. I'm so glad you did. We don't have to decide between should we not have fun and get a result? Because this used to be painstaking for me in college when I was really trying to learn the truth. I'm like, I was sitting there trying to comprehend this. Literally having fun and being confident wins. I want to do that anyway. And like, it's like, it seems too good to be true. It seems way too good to be true. We don't have to decide between do I want to not have fun and win, or have fun and lose. We don't have to make that decision. Luckily, and here's the crazy part, if you had to live a whole life, you would actually choose have fun and lose. There would be no way. You'd be a crazy person to pick not have fun and win for your entire life. You'd be a crazy person. I'd rather be homeless, you know? I'd rather die early than have a horrible life but win, because what's the point?
This is almost getting me emotional, because this exact process and understanding is exactly why I'd say 4 months, beginning of this year is when I fully decided to go all in on DreamState, because I was just like, okay, I fucking love what I'm doing. I'm having the most fun doing this, and I can win and I can make this work. But I had this like societal fear that no, I need to work for a company, I need to do this, I need to build something. But it's like, God is so great that you can actually just do what you want to do and what you're good at. And as long as it brings some sort of value to society, you can do that. You can do it your whole life. And that's when you read authors like Robert Greene, and he talks about mastery. That's what masters did.
Yes.
They it was almost something that maybe they discovered at a young age, but they did what brought them happiness and joy, and they lived within their truth, doing what they freaking loved every day, and that's how you achieve mastery.
And they would have done it with or without a result of fame and money.
Yeah.
They were just obsessed with it.
Yeah.
You know, like Albert Einstein, I think he died a virgin. Like a lot of these, Sir Isaac Newton, they just died a virgin. They were just,
Really?
Dude, they couldn't be pulled away from their freaking math table, bro. Like they were just so excited about it, and that's why they were the cool nerds. Like they were so cool. Like if you look at the picture of Einstein, it's like these guys were having such a blast doing math. It was unbelievable. They couldn't stop doing math. They loved doing math.
Wow,
and they're the best in the world. We're talking about them 500 years later.
Yeah.
They created calculus. You couldn't even teach me calculus. They created it.
Yeah, couldn't teach me calculus. I heard a story that Nikola Tesla actually wanted to cut his schmeckel off because women was taking away from his experiments.
He was big on semen retention. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, back to your point about, you going all in on what you love. Yeah, man, you absolutely get paid for what you love to do because you just do it. You put in more work without even realizing it. And that's what I realized with my workouts. A couple years of living here, I was pushing myself so hard on my workouts because I was talking about this on Marshall's podcast. Like I got attached to this high test level that I had. I was like, whoa, everyone's taking TRT to get less than where I'm even at naturally. I need to freaking keep this up. I need to keep doing these crazy sprints and all this other stuff. I was killing myself. And then I started getting injured and I started just hating working out. But I would still do it because like I'm never not going to work out. I still loved it enough to do it. And then it wasn't until it was this Costa Rica trip and I was like, dude, something's got to change. Not even stem cells in my knee or like my knee pain came back. That's just not right.
Yeah.
I started doing workouts that I enjoyed doing, which in my head, my perspective of it was this is too easy. I was actually doing more work. I was doing harder workouts, but I was enjoying it so much it felt easier because they were longer, they were more intense. Like I was putting my heart into it, but it was just exactly what I wanted to do. And for the first time in forever, like my bench max went up and my cardio ability went up. This is like me at like 30, 31 years old. Like things that shouldn't happen. You shouldn't be hitting PRs at this age.
Yeah. Like
everything started just like skyrocket. So you in your mastermind, you're probably making more money now than you were previously trying to like really jam it in with another business because just naturally, it's all you're thinking about. It's all you're doing. It's all the work that you're putting in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, if you can find a way to monetize what you love, then you're going to get rich.
In a beautiful, beautiful way.
Yeah.
When you were, because I mean, we can relate that fitness journey to really a lot of things where people go so hard to something, and usually, in your experience, there's a burnout physically, but a lot of times it's correlated to a burnout mentally. So what you did was kind of reevaluated and still focused on the outcome, but did it in a more energetically saving way. Is that kind of what we're understanding?
So here's the deal. It was like kind of like sales. I was getting rejected, but it was body form. Mm. So I was liking what I was doing. I'll push myself so hard, but the thing is, my body was telling me no. It's like, no, you're gonna if you keep doing this every single day, day in, day out, you're not meant to, you become too powerful to max out yourself in all ways in this way every single day. But I wanted to.
Yeah.
But because I wanted the results so bad of getting better results, I ended up hurting myself. So I had to detach from the results, realize, hey, I'll have to just take worse results to basically keep myself in the game here.
Can I ask you a question on this?
Hold on real quick. I don't want to lose this, but essentially, because I had become so attached to the results, I had to like leave the results to then get more results.
That was my question.
Yeah.
So I was literally going to ask you, do you sometimes need to almost, like I want to give you a real example. So I had set a goal after my knee surgery. This is probably a stupid goal now that I've really thought about it, but the doctor's like, you should probably never run again. I was like, fuck you, I'm going to run 100 miles.
That's crazy.
And I ran an ultra marathon last year, and I loved it. I loved the mental fortitude. I loved just accomplishing that. But I'm realizing that it's not the best on the knees.
Yeah.
like clearly running through mountains for 12 hours is not good. And I'm training for my next one, which is at the end of this month. And I really enjoyed the training process, but I ran 22 miles 2 weeks ago, and my hips were all discombobulated after. I'm like limping. I couldn't sleep that night. And I start to ask myself the question is like, do I have to reevaluate this goal of running 100 miles? Because I signed up for the 75K, so I'm 100% doing that. But then my ego comes in and it's like, you said you would.
Mm-hmm.
So can you kind of, I guess, maybe utilize me as a test subject on like
what I tell you to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would say still go for it because you committed to it. You know, that's when your body, that's when it's okay to like go above and beyond to like really push yourself. It's
Go for
like
100 miles?
Yeah, go for it because there's certain times in your life when you can push it all the way. But if you're doing that every single day, you're doing it every day, killing yourself, you're not meant to hit a PR every day. So don't run 100 miles every week, you know, or every month even. You're going to train up for this one time in your life, and that's going to be it. You know?
I like that.
It's like, I did this air bike workout, and after the second time I did it, I was like, I think that's the last time I ever do that. That was too much. Like, that might...
50 cows?
Yeah.
That's God-fearing.
It's pretty bad, you know. Like it's actually so scary that I've had in my notes section of my phone to do the 5 calories and 163 calories in 5 minutes from that pro CrossFitter guy.
Yeah.
I've had it in my phone
James Brigg.
Yeah, since you told me about it, and I haven't managed to do it because it's like, you know, doing that as hard as I could for 1 minute, that left me a little shooken up.
I was on the air bike.
but doing it for 5, bro, I don't know if I'll make it. Like, because I'll push myself so hard.
Yeah,
I don't know what's gonna happen.
You'll keep going. I was on the air bike this morning and doing a workout, and I was scared that you were gonna have us do that, the 50 calories.
I was nervous for you coming over. I'm like, we're gonna have to do it.
We're gonna have to do it
We're gonna do it while we're here.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. That's gonna happen.
Fuck. All right. We'll record that though.
Yeah, might as well. You guys can see it since we're talking about it. Oh man, it's gonna suck, dude.
Yeah, we should do that Wednesday.
Okay.
Or tomorrow.
Yeah, Wednesday.
Wednesday will be good. Training in weaknesses to conquer it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I love this concept because it's easy. Yeah, it's easy to train when you are feeling good. Like, and when I say training, like going out to try to perform and, you know, working at your best, doing the workout, whatever. But you're not always going to be in peak energy state. You're not always going to be fully awake. Sometimes you'll be tired. Sometimes you'll be overthinking. Sometimes you'll be depressed, whatever, dude. So if you really want your highs to crush it, train in your low states. So it's like whenever you're training boxing, you put like little weights in your hands. And then by the time you take the weights out, it's like, bro, my hands are flying. Same idea as that. And you never hit a bag fresh. You always hit bags after your workout, after you've weightlifted. So that way when you get in a real fight, it's like, dude, you can punch through concrete.
Yeah.
So it's the same idea as that. You know, you want to, what you want to do is make sure you're always training. Sometimes you can train when you're feeling fresh. I mean, always, you know, do your thing, whatever. But like, definitely don't shy away when you're feeling weak. It's like the other night, what was it, Saturday? I was super tired. But I've been telling myself, no, I need to be more social. I need to just like get out of my apartment more because I'm such a homebody, dude. Like I could just die in a cave happy. So I'm like, no, I need to like experience life. Otherwise, I'm just gonna be one day like 50 years old. Like, damn, I kind of didn't do too much, I guess. So I've been making an effort to go out. I had no one to go out with at this point. All my other friends that were coming out, they were coming out like way later. So they're like actually partiers. So I'm like, all right. I'm gonna go out solo and sober. That's what I do, solo and sober. So I'm walking up to the bar. And I'm like, wow, I'm tired. I'm definitely feeling kind of stiff right now. But this is badass because who in the world goes to a bar, let alone a college bar, sober? Like, who does that? That's crazy, you know. It's not actually crazy. It's not actually scary, but in your head it is. And so I was like, this is gonna make me feel so good. This is gonna be the best training ever because like I'm doing it. So I go in, ends up being a great time, like so much fun. By the time my friends did come, dude, it was like freaking, you know, it was like seeing a tidal wave of purple, blue, and red, just like colors going everywhere. Like energy-wise, it was epic. You know, by the time they finally did get there. But that is the essence of training and weakness: is put yourself at a severe disadvantage, and then train from there. By the time you get where it's easy, crush it.
I think that kind of leads into, you talked about a concept of measure your progress from your lows, not your highs.
Yeah.
So does that kind of connect to it, where, because if you're feeling peak state, let's say, to use like the bar for an example.
Yeah.
Let's say you had a lunch afternoon where you're hanging out with a bunch of people, so you're socially already at a high. So it's kind of easy when you're already socially at that frequency. It's like, okay, I can just go to another bar now. But when you're in your apartment, you're like debating if I'm going to sit here and eat banana with peanut butter, or
you know me too well.
or if I'm going to go to this bar and talk to people. So that kind of leads into, it's just like, that's where the growth comes in.
Yeah, and what's cool is that it becomes easier and easier because, you know, me walking up to that bar, and just the same example, now I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. Because I know a good result's going to come from it. I know good results come from me training a weakness now. When you, at first, and I almost kind of miss these times, whenever you go into it like, oh, this is going to suck so bad, like I'm going to do so horrible here, like this is just going to be so not fun, but you do the action anyway, you end up getting rewarded even more. When you know, like, because you've done it so many times, when you know, okay, I'm facing my fear right now, oh, it's going to turn out well. I was walking up to that bar excited. I'm like, yeah, this is like totally a challenge right now, therefore it's going to be great. And it kind of like, yeah, God doesn't need to reward you as much, because it's like you don't need that little like Pavlov, what is it, like the food. You don't need like the treat after.
The dog,
like, yeah, you don't need. It's like God knows that you know. But measuring yourself from the lows, that's just what that's saying is. Now as we grow and we get better, our lows aren't as low. Our financial lows aren't as low. Our energy lows are not as low. Our confidence lows are not as low. What's not confident for me now would have been the most confident that I could ever be. No, I'm not even exaggerating. Me at my lowest confidence is probably double my best confidence when I was maybe like 22. And I was always, I would say, a very confident guy. You know, that's how it grows. That's how you measure. You measure from your lows, because you're low, you at your worst. It's like, okay, what's this investment going to do in the worst case scenario? If you can still make money in the worst case scenario of the investment, that's how you know you're going to do it. So that's how you measure. That's how I measure my progress, is where is my new low.
I also, one thing I learned as I started to not drink alcohol and getting to the sober journey is that I have like a new baseline of energy and dopamine, if you will.
Yes.
And it's a really beautiful thing, but it could be uncomfortable in the beginning, because to use the example that we're kind of talking about of going to a bar, if you're going to go to a bar to drink, you'll actually be more pumped to go if you are in a low, because you know that there's going to be something exterior at the bar that's going to raise you. And then also, it's almost like familiar, like when you go to the bar, you order a drink.
Yeah.
And if you're by yourself, it's like, oh, let me get a vodka soda, and you walk around with your vodka soda, let me get another vodka soda, and then maybe you get the confidence to finally start talking to people after your third vodka soda. But without that, you go there at this baseline. But the cool thing is this baseline, it doesn't sway, and it's consistent in life.
It's linear. It's more linear.
It's more linear, and that was one challenge I had when I used to drink, because I would create this linear baseline, and then I would drink alcohol, and it'd be like a escape to come up here, and I'd have all this energy. But people don't realize this, and Huberman talks about it. After you drink alcohol, your baseline drops for about 10 days.
I did not know that.
It drops for about a 10-day period. So in that 10-day period, you're slowly on your way back up, not to up here where alcohol brought you, to your normal.
Just to get to normal again.
Just to get back to normal.
And that's why people want the alcohol, because they feel so horrible. They're like, God, please, anything to make me not feel so freaking unconfident and lame.
Yeah.
So they, of course, they're just like, anything, please. Like social media, freaking porn, jacking off, alcohol, drugs, anything, please. Just let me not feel so bad. And that's where the spiral is hard, you know.
The spiral is real hard. And the
but I mean,
craziest thing,
but didn't you notice though? Didn't you notice that when you stopped going out and drinking, that you started to naturally kind of feel drunk as the night went on anyway?
yeah, you talked about this a while ago. It's like an osmosis thing.
People think the alcohol is doing all the work. It's really not. If you ever go out sober, which is why me and you are spending a lot of time on this topic because it's so important. Drugs are such an important topic to talk about because we have a lot of people listening on this podcast that are trying to become very successful and very high achievers. And you're poisoning yourself. And you're poisoning your mind and your energy. And that's the biggest thing. Your body's one thing, your mind is one thing. The energy is the most important thing. Energy creates reality. So if you're poisoning your energy and lowering that, good luck, dude. Good. I don't even curse. I almost curse. It's like good effing luck, dude.
Yeah.
Good freaking luck. You're not gonna make it.
You're not gonna make it.
You're too scared. You know, you're too scared and you're too low. But what was I gonna say? Yeah. So when you're walking around and you're not drinking, you realize that, oh wow, all those times I thought the alcohol was making me high. It was just this environment. It was me just socializing. Socializing literally gets you high. And speaking of science, I'm not a big science guy, but I've heard that it releases the same serotonin levels in your brain as doing LSD when you socialize. It literally opens up your mind like you're on shrooms, which is why every time I would go out sober when I first started really doing it, I felt like I was tripping. And my eyes would get all dilated, and girls would be like, "Are you on Molly? You're on drugs." I'd be like, "No, I'm not. I'm sober." "No, I don't believe you. You're having too much fun. Your eyes, look at your eyes." And it's just that because your brain is on drugs.
Wow.
And you're thinking the alcohol is not doing anything. The alcohol is lowering it. The alcohol is making it worse. The alcohol caps you on how high you can get. With energy, you can keep going up. With alcohol, capped.
Wow. I wanted to thank you because you're the number one reason why I'm sober in my life right now. And this has been the biggest thing for me that's gotten me to where I'm at now. And without you, I don't know if I would have ever got here. So,
Dude, that's
Thank
awesome.
you.
That means a lot, man.
when we were in Peru, one of the defining moments of this, there's been many throughout our life together, but one of the defining moments is when we were in Peru, and before we did ayahuasca, we weren't drinking. And I felt like I needed alcohol to go out and have fun. It was just my identity. We were at Ducey as well.
Yeah.
And Ducey and I's past relationship, we'd always get bomb drunk together. Like, it was so fun. I fucking love Ducey. And he'll laugh at this if he's listening.
Oh, yeah.
But we would just always go out and get crazy drunk. So it's me,
Yeah.
Ducey, and you. And one night we went out, and we're in this underground bar, and Ducey and I are like, man, I'd really love a beer right now. Like, that's our conversation. And you're over here dancing and raving, and your eyes are dilated, and you're like, you're feeling so great. And I was like, wow. And then after we did ayahuasca, there was one night Ducey and I got back to drinking, and you're just still living sober, just at way higher of like a enjoyment level of life. And that was a really like an opening for me. It's like, wow, like my friend's having way more fun, way more enjoyment, and he's not being controlled by this substance. Then I started, there was many paths that have brought me down, but, and you think about alcohol and they call it spirits, right? And I've started to kind of understand, it's like, what's the devil energy?
Dude, that's
and
what I'm
what's
talking about
God
next.
energy?
Mm-hmm.
Because these vices, I can tell right away, because I was put on drugs from a young age in school. They put me on Adderall. I can kind of tell now when someone's all Adderalled up and they don't stick to their commitments, they're this, and I'm like, that's 100% the devil energy. And it's the same thing with alcohol. You don't stick to your commitments. You say things you don't mean. It's just the devil energy. But when you're living with God energy and you're only putting natural, amazing things into you that was gifted from God,
Yep.
you stick to your commitments and you're just living in way more of a truth. And I think you did really nail it on the head. Like, this is important for us to talk about, because I was on a call today and a member in the 7 Spiritual Laws class they're going through right now was like, I drank the past 2 weekends, and I know, Ethan, you've been talking about this for a while. I bring this up all the time in the mastermind. Talked about it on last night's call.
Yep.
And he's just like, you talk about this all the time, and it's starting to really make sense. And I built up all this momentum in these past 2 weekends. I want to make a change. I don't want to stop it, but I don't know how. I don't know how, because all my friends know me as the guy that's going to go ahead and order a vodka martini with blue cheese olives or whatever.
Order it for them.
Order it for them.
Yeah, dude. I love when people get drunk around me.
Yeah, it is.
If they're not my close friend, dude, I love people being drunk. That's my favorite thing. I love being around drunk people. I love being around degenerates. I was really close friends with a crackhead, dude. They're awesome. I had a crackhead living in the house. Nah, he wasn't on crack, but no. I mean, they're the coolest people, dude. Like, people like us are so lame most of the time because they're just like so serious and like so goal driven. And it's like they're how I used to be, bro. Like, when I came out of college, I became like so scared to not hit my goals that I thought, just anything to do with not hitting my goals, like, you're just militant mindset. I wasn't following the laws of, I wasn't following the truth because I was out of scarcity and fear. I was like, no, like, I have to do whatever I can, and I just didn't have that faith built up in God yet. I really didn't. Not even close. And so, anyways, yeah, dude, people that are degenerates, they're like, those are the people we want to party with. Unless they've really gotten to our level, then it's like, it's even more fun to hang out with guys like us because, we're not retarded with it. We're just having so much fun.
I was kind of thinking that earlier because I'm actually intrinsically a little bit introverted.
Yeah, same.
And this was kind of surprising for me to realize once I got into my sober journey, because alcohol would make me be the guy walking around the bar. Hey, what's going on? How are you doing?
Yeah.
And I can still be that guy, but what I've realized that introverts are actually a lot more enjoyable usually because they're not going to be the person that's walking around yelling and making a big scene, but I'm very good with when I actually can sit down and speak to someone and talk and understand someone on a deeper level. And realistically, that's what I want anyway.
Yeah.
I don't really like going to, sometimes I do, but I'd rather go to a jazz bar where I can actually sit down and have deep, meaningful, spiritual conversation with a beautiful girl with curly hair and nice green eyes. A little milky skin, maybe. I don't know. Maybe from South America. Who knows?
A little attraction there.
And have this amazingly erotic conversation versus being at a rave where I'm with the same girl, but I can't talk to her. I'm just dancing on her. Because there it's all physical, right? It's only physical where we're getting it from. But to truly understand someone is beautiful.
Well, then you should train in your weakness. 'Cause I'm the same way. And I like to have philosophical talks. We talk for hours on the phone. We call it a mastermind.
Yeah.
We don't say, hey, good talk. We say, hey, good mastermind, because it's just natural to us. So for me to train in weakness, I would go to those raves. I would go to these places where you can't even hear yourself talk because I hate those places. And then I would learn how to have fun there. Because if you're an introvert and you go to places that aren't naturally suited to you to have fun, and you can have fun there, bro, you're going to have so much fun everywhere else. If you're an introvert, you can naturally have so much more fun than anybody because that means that you enjoy your own company. That's literally what an introvert is. So if you can find a way to channel that everywhere you are, which just means taking down the fear of being weird. You're like slightly autistic, so just like don't worry about it. Just like be your weird self. You can ramp up the weirdness. You don't have to come straight out with talking in colors and all these weird things and how the dimensions of the universe play into everything. But like you can like grow it in and then see who clings on to the weirdness. 'Cause there's a lot of introverts going out too, trying to do the same thing, and then boom, you're like the king of the world. It's a fun time.
And kind of back to the alcohol thing, I know that there's people listening that understand that alcohol is controlling their life. I can almost guarantee that alcohol is controlling, and they're also alcoholics. Probably 70% of people in America
without even knowing it.
Without knowing it.
Yeah, drug addicts and alcoholics without even knowing it.
So
totally reliant on things.
Totally reliant.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart.
Even on phones. You guys are freaking drugged by your phones.
Yeah.
I would say it's like 90% because half you... No, shoot. Yeah, probably more than 90% are drugged by their phones. Unless you're like a blue-collar worker or something, you're definitely being drugged by your phone.
Yeah, I'm drugged by my phone.
Yeah, but like addicted to it too. So, and I'm addicted to it, but now I'm able to stay off of it because I have like all the safeguards put in place. But a lot of people don't. They just wake up in the morning. If the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning is check your phone, you know you got a problem. That's it. That's like, say no more. You can't even open your eyes without looking at your phone, man.
Yeah.
Goodness. You can't just look at a wall. You can't just like enjoy that. See, that's part of enjoying yourself. If you can enjoy yourself just kind of peacefully looking around, that's feeling like you have everything and needing nothing. It's a certain thing in the eyes. You can see it in the eyes. Like, all right, I'm just enjoying this moment. This is me just enjoying the moment. This is me seeking, see the difference in my eyes? Now, this is me seeking something to find enjoyment from. This is me just like, I'm now happy. You can see it right there.
Yeah. And for those listening, it was almost like he's looking through a binocular lens when he's kind of looking for the life, and then the other lens is just like you're just watching a sunset. Yeah. It's like, wow.
And you learn this from being competitive, man. Like, whoever enjoys life the most wins. That's what the best man is. Okay, I'm gonna find a way to win. That's just competitive nature. And then also the devil, the elites, whatever you want to say, yeah, they're trying to control us. They want us to be addicted to our phones. They want us to think that we need money to have fun. They want us to think we need their drugs to survive. They want us to think we need to have conventional medicine to heal ourselves. They want us to think that we're not supposed to push ourselves in the gym. We're supposed to just do this. You know, they want us to think all these things. You know, they want us to think that we need something to have access to God. They think that they want us to think that we need a church to have access to God. No, we have everything. We don't need that. And that fires me up, man. If the opposition wants us to think that we need something to have God, I'm gonna show the opposition that I don't. And we're gonna gather an army and we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna friggin' take it over, man. We'll flip the world on its head, dude. Too long have leaders retreated into the jungles and say, okay, I'll just live on a farm now. Because I get it, it's appealing. Yeah, I don't want to deal with society. Let me just get my hot wife and go live on a farm. I understand the appeal. Well, guess what? Enough leaders have done that for so long that now they did take over the world. Now they took it over, bro. And now what are you going to do? Now they've tainted the water supply. Now they've done things in the air. Now they've mandated vaccines that you don't want to take. Now, you know, what are you going to do now? Okay, too many leaders retreated. We should have been born in the 1950s, maybe. I don't know, and maybe been able to do something about it. But now we're here, and we got to do something about it now. And that's what we're doing on podcasts like these, man. So we're waking people up to where we're flipping the world on its head. What's happening now is not okay. You know, there is a right and wrong. And that's flat out the truth. Like, you don't need to be like, oh, we all have a perspective and we all have an opinion. Okay, if you can argue their opinion as good as you can argue your own, then you can see reality, and don't think that, because I'm biased and I'm skewed, I don't know reality. No, you do know reality. You know what their argument is. They don't know what yours is. They're the ones that don't know reality. They can't argue your point of view because they won't even think about it, because then they see they're wrong. So we know there's an objective truth. We know there's objective reality. And we got to stand for it and win. And that's living this way and not retreating and taking our energy and putting it into as much social situations as we can and as much business as we can and changing the world with it and serving the world with it. That fires me up. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to serve the world.
Truth.
Purpose.
Truth bomb. Purpose. Living in purpose.
Yeah.
And passion. And how do you get to that state of being so fired up?
I mean,
on that truth.
It's how I want to live. I'm pulled towards it with all my dreams, and everything that would stop me from my dreams is the opposition on the other side. So
yeah, because
the opposition doesn't even exist to me. But if I ever need it, it's like they say fear God. I never understood that. Fear God. Why would I fear God? That's my creator. Well, you fear God if you're not following your creator. If you love God with all your heart, you want to be with God, God creates better results, God creates a more enjoyment life, God creates better for everyone else that you're around when you're with God. But if you're lacking and you're on your phone too much and you're with the devil, you better start fearing God, because God's going to slap you in the face and say, no, now you lose all your results. Now you lose everything that you love. Now you hurt all of the people that you love. Now you hurt yourself, other people, and your results. You better start fearing God. So, you know, that's the backup. I fear God as the backup plan. I don't want to ever have to fear God, but I will fear God if I ever need to, and that happens sometimes. But that's when you bring in the fear of the devil, and like, no, I hate the devil. Fires me. I want to kill the devil. Kill the devil in society and energy and everything. And I fear God to make sure I stay with God.
Is that why you don't want to just go live out in the woods with your beautiful wife and your millions and millions of dollars?
I do both, man. I don't. But I don't just want to, I don't just want to throw in the towel. I got lucky enough to become a millionaire when I was 27, and I got to live exactly how I wanted to live for a couple years, and I got to watch as much movies as I wanted to watch, and I got to heal the trauma of, being forced to work like a slave since I was, in high school and playing high school sports and doing all this stuff. I got to chill out for the first time in my life, and after a couple years of that, I'm like, all right. I did it. I retired already, and now I'm back from retirement.
That's a.
I just had to. You have to just experience it. Everyone should get rich to then retire to then come out of retirement. you have to want it, like if you want to retire and just do nothing, you got to experience that straight up. Like you got to experience, oh, what would you do if you have infinite money? Oh, I travel the world and I do all that for a couple of years. Okay, and this is what I'd ask people on interviews. What would you do if you had infinite money? I would do this, this, and this. I'd travel this, I'd buy this, I'd do that. Okay, and let's say 3 years goes by. What would you want to do then? Which ironically was about how long I was retired for. And I'd be like, well, I guess I'd want to help out the world. I want to work. I'd want to like build something. I want to build a business. Yeah, everyone wants to. But everyone has to experience a little bit of freedom first. But the thing is, we as humans, fortunately and fortunately, got to a point where we are no longer self-sustaining. We don't have farms. We don't have, trade. What do they call it? Yeah, just trade. We don't have trading anymore. Barter system. Yeah, we don't have like the barter system anymore. I got this cow. I can trade you this milk. I can trade you for this chicken, whatever. This house. You can build this for this horse that can drive you here. Like we don't have that anymore. So we're not self-sufficient anymore. Meaning we're all living off of money. So whoever controls the money controls us. So we got it. Unfortunately, you have to get control of your money. Fortunately, when you do, you get to learn and experience all these things. If we would have just stayed self-sustaining from the start and not got addicted to money, we wouldn't have had to do all this crap. we could have just learned this when we were like 16 and just do my thing and do this. But humans naturally want to advance, and then certain people ruin it for all of us, and there's a lot of good intention, but then there's some bad. All it takes is like one bad apple to ruin them all. So that's what happens.
I was going to say, you created the new 27 Club, by the way. Don't die at 27, become a millionaire.
Yeah.
Since you created this freedom at that age, at that young age of 27, and you retired for 3 years, if you were to look back, do you think it actually would cost you that much to live the life that you lived for those 3 years and did whatever you want? Do you think it actually really cost you that much money?
No, that was my whole misconception. That's why if I were to mentor someone now, I would say, okay, what do you want? What is everything that you want? Write it all down. And then I would be able to show them that they probably don't want a lot of those things. When I have 2 places to live, I have 2 cars, I have a whole lot of stuff. I got a freaking tractor, I have a lawnmower, I have so much crap. I have like 13 guns. I have so much stuff, dude. And what I've realized from having everything that I want for the most part is it is a liability. Not from a money standpoint. Everyone thinks, oh, you'll have the money to afford it, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you could pay someone to take care of it. No, you can't, dude. No one's going to take care of it well. I tried hiring an assistant. You remember that. Yep. She couldn't cook for crap. She was hard to manage. She ended up screwing me over. Listen, even the manager you have to manage. There's no way out. The more stuff you have, trifecta. He always sees in threes.
It's good luck.
It's good luck. We got a quadruple earlier. That's how we do this computer podcast.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. All the stuff you have is a liability, so you better make sure that you really, really want that thing, because it's going to create work for you. Not just money. You will spend more money on it, but it's going to create work for you too. So I thought I had to be a billionaire to have everything I wanted. That was the dumbest. I never did the math. I didn't realize that a million is 1,000 million. That a billion is 1,000 millions. I didn't do the math on that. I didn't do the math on how much a dream home was. I didn't do the math on even how much all the supercars were. Even with all the stuff I thought I wanted, I didn't have to be even close to a billionaire. Maybe 1/10 of it, maybe. I just didn't know. I didn't do the math. So do the math. Do the math. Figure out everything you want. At your highest, most, I guess in this case, conservative would be exaggerated level. And that's the most money that you'll have to make. I never even did that. I never did the math. And then when I got all this stuff, I realized, holy crap, I specifically don't want a Lamborghini. I'll rent a Lamborghini. I'll rent certain things for fun to experience them. Ain't no way in hell I'm taking care of some of these things. This would take so much time to take care of. It's hard enough to take care of a pickup truck. I couldn't imagine a supercar, Anyways, that's just one example. So, no, I could live my entire dream life with my family, with 4 kids and everything, off $60,000 a month. That's not $1 billion.
No.
So that's not even a millionaire.
Yeah, that's extremely achievable. When you got all these things,
and I don't have 4 kids and a wife yet. So, yeah.
So it's a fraction of that.
Fraction.
Now, when you got all these things, did you feel as if they were controlling you?
Dude, that's what it got to the point. This house controlled me, and I was like, holy crap! Everything, as a homeowner, things break. You got to take care of things. You have to maintain things, and no one does it as good as you. If you have a wife, she can cook for you and all that, but whatever. That's just lifestyle stuff. But yeah, dude, like this house, I realized I kind of freaked out when I bought it because I'm like, dude, this thing, I feel like I'm tied to this thing now. That's why I got a spot in the city too, so I could just have 2 spots. But yeah, no, it's like it becomes a whole thing to work on. And you have to have everything put in place to be able to work on it. You got to learn how you become good at working on stuff. It's a whole thing, man. So that's the whole point of me saying all this. More whoever wants like more than 2 houses, good luck to you, bro. I couldn't imagine.
If you
could
were to
not imagine.
If you were to go back, would you still make the moves that you made? Would you still get the house? If you were
Oh yeah, no, this house I'm never selling it. It's the best thing that ever happened. I really, really wanted this house. I really wanted this house. I wanted to lay in nature naked. I wanted to shoot my guns. I wanted to be able to have my own gym in my house. I wanted everything I wanted. I wanted to be able to work out in silence. You know, I wanted to be able to just I want to be able to do that. You know, so
a couple cows over there. To say
yeah, moo. I want to moo the cows.
Moo with the cows. It was 8 a.m. today, and I heard some gunshots. Is that you?
Yeah.
You know,
especially if you're rapid fire, you know it's me.
Yeah, and that's it's like I asked.
That's another thing. I wanted to rapid fire my guns. You go to a gun range, 1 shot per second. What's the point of having a gun, man?
Yeah.
Oh, I must aim at the bullseye. I don't get, bro. I'm blasting that thing, man. I don't care. In 10 shots, I'll hit the target. I don't need to be accurate. I'll aim at it. One of those is gonna hit.
And I asked you if these things controlled you, but it seems as if they bring you immense freedom to have this house.
Yeah.
Because to be able to shoot your guns at AM is a version of freedom, and it's like a soul expression of you living in who you truly are. As you're speaking of...
Well, just real quick, yeah, because for me, the liabilities are worth it. They outweigh the cost. The benefits outweigh the cost. So all I'm saying is everything has a cost. Everything's a liability, so it better be worth it. And this house is double worth it. This is like the best thing ever. I love this house.
When I was leaving California after my, 4-year solar journey, I was thinking of going to Texas, and was going to Texas, and I was looking at a house in Fate, which is outside of Dallas, and it was like not even that expensive. It was like $500,000 for a 5-bedroom, brand new build house in like a gated community. So I bought it. I went in escrow, and they're building it, and it wasn't done. And I was meditating one day, actually outside of a museum in San Francisco, and I just had like a really gut intuitional feeling, like bad idea.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Bad idea. So I pulled out of escrow, and everything worked out, and
you got your money back too, which is cool.
and I got the money back,
That's
which
rare.
I wasn't expecting. I was
You got blessed, bro.
I got blessed.
Yeah.
And I think I don't think I know that God speaks to us in those circumstances, because my path wasn't meant to have that house in Texas. I learned good lessons from it going throughout that process. I learned some great lessons. But if I didn't have that house, I wouldn't be in... If I did buy the house, I wouldn't be in South America right now. Who knows if we'd be having this conversation. I probably would have had some greater lessons, but I for sure would have been controlled by that house. Because I didn't do the math as well. I started doing the math. I bought the house. I was like, oh, the mortgage is only $2,500? Fuck yeah, I'm paying $4,000 for rent right now.
Yeah.
But then you start adding insurance, electric bill.
Yeah, those aren't even the true costs. The true costs come when things break, man. Freaking, lightning storm happens. My freaking gate broke, and then the thing fell off, and then there's so many things, man. Yeah, not to cut you off. Keep going.
No, it's good. And so I would have been truly controlled by that house. And this past year, I was able to really express freedom. And I look back at my life, and I've really done that the whole time. I never let society or even my leader in business affect my decisions, because your leader always wants you to stay in business, right?
Yeah.
I was the type of dude that I would work really hard for 9 months, and I'd usually take 3 months off. Mm-hmm. I would travel for a whole month throughout the year, and because my mindset was always, okay, I understand that becoming a millionaire, I'll be able to go to Egypt, I'll be able to go hunting with the Hadzabi tribe. But why would I wait till then to be able to do that if I can do it now? If I can express the freedom of what I want now? I think a lot of people put limitations and expectations on things like, oh, I'll do this when I get this. Mm-hmm. But if you just continue to live and do what you want, you realize it's not that expensive to live your truth and maybe not truth, but live your ideal life that you want.
They got to do the math, man. It sounds like, I don't know. I guess I was maybe afraid to do the math because it'd be like, well, what do I think? I'm not going to become a billionaire? Do I not believe in myself? maybe that was what stopped me from doing the math. I honestly can't even remember. I think it was just like, yeah, it's probably that. It's like, I just have to be a billionaire. I have to be a billionaire in my 20s and be like the richest man in the world. I thought I thought that I had to be a billionaire to have the girl I wanted to have. And then I became a millionaire and I was like, I thought the girls would fall out of the sky or something. I didn't know what I expected, but that was, I guess, what I expected. It didn't happen. I was like, so I gotta like still meet girls. All right, well, that sucks. And then I realized you don't have to be a billionaire to get the girls you want. You don't even have to be a millionaire. You don't have to have, I guess, any money. So that was a plot twist. So I hate sharing that because that money is a huge motivator for young guys because they think they have to have their girl to do it. You have to have a family. You have to have money to have a family. So yeah, like you need money because you need to be able to take care of your family well and be a man.
Yeah.
Like I want to make money for me and my family and the world. But like when you're a young guy, you want it because you want to get the most pussy. So you want to get the best pussy.
And you tend to do a lot of things that don't align with your values for money as well, which I see a lot of. And I think that's a dangerous
that
game
could
to
be,
play.
Yeah, that depends on the person. But yeah, maybe living on truth. Yeah, you're right. Like for me, I didn't live the truth a lot because I was so thirsty for money. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I see with a lot of people. I wasn't saying us. Excuse me. I see with a lot of people they'll do anything for a buck, anything for an opportunity, and they'll sell their soul if you will.
Yeah.
But when you're really just living and doing what you're good at and what you enjoy doing, like the money's gonna come. The money will come. It might not come today, it might not come tomorrow, but it'll come.
Yeah. Well, some people don't have tomorrow. That's the problem, man. They're in tough spots. So, you know, I tell people that it's usually the creative people that want to be rappers, artists, all these things, and you know, even like want to be coaches. You know, like you, they want to do what you're doing. It's like, well, you know, you didn't start off being a coach, bro. You know, and they're trying to skip steps. They're trying to be a coach before they're ready to be a coach.
Yeah.
Well, who have you made money without them paying you for it? Like, we made people money by coaching them in our businesses because that was how we made Override. Yeah. That was how we made money. We made money by making them win. So we learned how to make people win.
Yeah.
And really well.
Yeah.
So that's why you can coach now. But, you know, someone might love to coach, but you got to love to coach enough to do some groundwork to get to where you can coach. You know, there's a pledge process for life, and we went through it. You know, you got to be ready. The best leaders were once followers. You got to be a pledge. I was a good slave, man. I was a real good slave to my goals. Almost too good of a slave to my goals, to where it almost blocked me from my goals because I was like, no, blocking out the truth, just whatever I got to do, kill myself for the win. God doesn't want you to kill yourself, so. But yeah, no, you got to go through some time, man. Even if that means a job you don't like, so you can afford to invest in the things you do love.
Sam, the last question I have for you is a question I tend to ask a lot of people on the pod is, what would you say now after your experience? You're 31 years old. What's now your life path, life purpose?
Dude, right now specifically, infinite residual income. Infinite residual income. I'm sick of money even being on my mind at all. I don't even want it to come into my mind at all. Like, I want it to just be like my life is just so present, which I make it that way pretty well on its own. But about the only things I need to really think about is like, yeah, I need to do some work. Yeah, I need to make some money. If I didn't even have those thoughts, I could be such a better giver. I could serve the world so much more. I could be such a better leader. So it's like, I need to just get myself so freaking set for my future family, for me, for the world. So that way I can live my purpose even harder. And that's how I know God's going to make me win and make us win, man. Because that's how we think. That's what we do.
So, infinite residual income.
Yeah.
So you can serve. Is that what I'm hearing?
Serve and live, yeah.
Serve and live,
baby. That's my purpose.
And what
give the most, give the best.
Give the most, give the best.
To me, to everyone, to Earth.
Just a noble calling. And what would you, like, how would you serve?
Well, I do business all the time. I would just be taking nonstop action to promote every mindset I'm saying right now through action, because you know there's two ways to promote this mindset. Is like, one, you share it directly, and two, you share it indirectly. Well, 99% of people, you can't just walk up and talk to them like this. So you got to just give it to them. You give it to the cashier. You give it to the waiter and the waitress. You give it to the guy on the street. to the freaking homeless crackhead, to the guy that you're playing basketball with. You know, those are the people that you give it to the random, to the girl at the bar you don't want anything to do with.
Yeah.
You know, to the guy at the bar that looks like he could use some help. You know, that's who you give it to. You give it to people. And when you give it to people, they live in it, and then they learn it through living it. That's how we learned it. We learned it through little flashes of living it, and then we had the assistance of Alan Watts and Eckhart Tolle and R.S.D. Owen. You know, we had the assistance of them, but we lived it so we could understand it. When you live it, then you can understand it, and then the words behind it can sink in and internalize it. You hypnotize yourself, like we were talking about from the beginning.
Yeah, and you've opened up the Warriors Retreat for a select group of people, and this is one thing that I think the value on it.
Yeah,
I wish that I could go back in time and come to the Warriors Retreat, like time travel, when I was 21, because it would have shaped my world. What is the Warriors Retreat, and how do people apply? Because I know you're only you're not opening it up to just any Joe Schmo. You're a little selected because it's in your home.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm having people come to my house. You can work out with me, hang out with me. I mean, it's not just about me. It's like, this is your vacation. You get to do whatever you want here. That's the whole reason I bought my house, so I could be free. So you're not locked in a city. And we should turn the camera on to show everything at one point, but. Anyways, yeah, so you can do whatever you want. You can, work out however you want, eat the best food. I'm going to supply you with the food. That's a big thing. You don't even know you're eating the wrong food. You don't even know you're drinking the wrong water. You don't even know that there's supplements that you need to replenish yourself that the soil can't give you anymore. So I'm going to give you all these things to just give you a foundation for your life. And then if you have the foundation, it's a place to reroot, because you probably don't have a compound in the middle of nature like this. And then on top of all that, yes, I am going to be there. You're going to be there. You get to hang out with us. We're going to instill the right mindsets in you through osmosis, the right energy in you through osmosis. And so, yeah, that's what the Warriors Retreat's going to be. I want a guy who really wants to. Really, what I want is like the elite guys. I want the guys like us who just want to tap in and get better and reroute and maybe just need a little bit of help. Or like a pre-master of life, like a young guy who's on our path that just needs a little bit of confirmation that they're doing the right thing, or redirection to make sure they get on the right thing. And then the last guy I would want, which I still do want because he's now a really close friend of mine, is a guy that is completely lost, that is completely coachable, completely willing to change everything in their life. Because that's honestly the easiest thing to do. I mean, that's addition, not calculus. I could tell you how to do that. I could literally change your life. I could change anyone's life in 3 days, but your life, their life, will be the biggest shift by far.
Wow.
So.
And what I'm seeing with the guy that's here right now, that's making the big drastic change.
Got his dream job, lost 100 pounds.
Yeah, this guy's creating his own video game now.
Yeah.
Lost 100 pounds.
He was working at Hungry Howie's before this.
That's where I see that life path, life purpose coming into play. When I'm seeing the transformations that are happening there, and this dude that was probably falling into complete nihilism, and now is lit up and being in the energy of this retreat, his life has turned around. So that's beautiful. And we don't need to turn this around. I'll do a cut and I'll add it to the podcast so the viewers can listen to that. So you've already seen that by the time we went through this. But Zambo, it's been long awaited.
Oh, it's been great. We had to be in person for it, man. This was fire.
Bye, everyone.
Great time. See ya.